I never had a fortune or a trust fund. Never had a dealer cause I was one. Never changed the fabric I was cut from. Under my rug I was tucking one gun and a bunch of drugs. I got skunked drunk on the 8th of November, thought we were done, son. The night of the election when the Trump won. But never felt a punch I can't get up from. I'm a tough one and I don't judge the ones who never trusted me then. I treated some of my friends like dust in the wind, thinking that I had money to spend, but I'd be stupid and play when I have music to make. Look, you want a piece of the American dream? You better do like the powerful do and barely be seen. Spend 10,000 hours on your hustle degree and make the money disappear like it was nothing to me.
There is a jungle you can stumble into, America, with nothing and make it something, but there is kerosene and matches all around, smoking fire clouds you'll barely see. The light that's meant to guide
Always had a chip about my shoulder, the only one who never had the code word. I had to sneak around to the back door where you were skipping rocks. I moved boulders till my back was sore, but I can make $1 out of 15 pennies. Lost souls I've seen many. Pocket change, chang, it gets heavy like a kettle bell. It feel like confetti, like kiss, kiss, bang. Nothing personal, it's just a business thing. I was on the train saying bye, bye, buddy. Well, you were waiting for whatever Christmas brings. You can kiss this ring. Listen, my lady tells me I got hate in my eyes, but I'm just laying low and taking my time. It's never too late, but y'all drink the Kool-Aid. Chasing a lie, but I just stay in the skies. Come on.
There is a jungle you can stumble into, America, with nothing and make it something, but there is kerosene and matches all around, smoking fire clouds you'll barely see. The light that's meant to guide you. There is a jungle you can stumble into, America, with nothing and make it something, but there is kerosene and matches all around, smoking fire clouds you'll barely see. The light that's meant to guide you. I've been running from the demons. They can't stop me when I'm on my way. Yeah, I've been running from the demons. They can't stop me when I'm on my way.
Yeah, still that same neurotic, psychotic, anxiety-ridden. You're wildly driven, guy with a vision that's finally getting another chance at his life to make some wiser decisions. And all these songs are therapy, it's like a diary written in all these syllables and rhymes through a myriad of lines. Plant a little seed of hope and I've been giving it some time. Still these demons lurk around just like some villains in my mind. Feel them slither, dripping venom down the ridges of my spine. All these hills I've yet to climb, all with something that's attached. Hard to shoulder all this weight when you got monkeys on your back. And that monkey's a gorilla, better toughen up your lats while he tugging on your traps. Ain't no coming back. Does a number on the muscular, carrying all the baggage and pushing through it mentally will turn you to a savage. So walk in my shoes, see it all through my glasses, and say a prayer that God will grant me safe passage. But nowadays it seems like no one's optimistic. I already see society as post-apocalyptic. As everybody's struggling, our demons have been doubling. As we sitting back just watching humanity crumbling. Feel like I'm in hell itself, chiseling my mental health, knowing I'ma pay for my mistakes using the devil's wealth. Try to keep some angels in my heart, they need some extra help. Maybe I should get some help.
I've been running from the demons. They can't stop me when I'm on my way. Yeah, I've been running from the demons. They can't stop me when I'm on my way. God grant me the serenity. I'm in a search for better remedies. Trying to find some light to conquer this dark energy. Devil on my shoulder, he trying to spark chemistry. It's an art form how I've lasted. Through programming that hit the masses. Good and evil been clashing. I rose from the ashes, walked the devil's passage. My pops shot himself in the crib, that shit was tragic.
Good morning, everybody. I'm a bit late, and I'm sorry about that. Like I said, I do plan on doing it around like 7, 8, 9, so I'm a little bit late here, but I did have to pick my sister up from the airport. I was just a little bit late getting out the door this morning. But what's going on, everybody? Sky Knight, what's up, man? Ruben, how you been? He said been a while. Let's do some ABCs. Absolutely, brother. Johnny, what's going on, man? He said, hey, bro, what's going on? Read more, what's going on, man? Simran, he said, Kite randomly remembers after some months that he has a YouTube channel. Yeah, I mean, I was live 2 days ago as well. If you haven't seen that one, like I said, just been a rough year. I just fell out of it. Just needed time to myself. So, is what it is. But good to be back. Just talking about some crypto. Good to see you back, Kite. I'm here for the vibes because I sold all my spot and trading. Oh, nice. Get out of the game. Broke the chains. Kite got a hangover of the Liberation Day celebration. Good morning, everybody. Let me go ahead and switch over here. So I don't have the camera up and running. But we will soon. So, on, was it Tuesday or Monday? It was Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I talked about how the market wanted to come back up and try to retest either here or here. And I was truthfully hoping for a higher high off of that. Unfortunately, did not get it, but it is what it is. So I'm still holding the miniature long trade from this smaller time frame ABC, which the only reason why I took that ABC was because I really did want an entry on the larger setup here. Just for anybody that wasn't in the last live stream, this setup here. I wanted a long setup off of that because this is currently our largest long structure. So we haven't had anything this significant since all the way back here. Now, it's not the same size, and I don't necessarily think it's done. But obviously, we don't control the market. We don't try to pretend like we know what it's going to do. So if we have any sort of larger structure after breaking through resistance, this is our previous resistance, hopefully, new support. If we get a large ABC structure, we have to assume that that could be technically a bottom. So I did want some sort of close entry to that, so I just tried to find whatever I could to get into that. But I do believe that either an incompleted ABC as of now, or a completed one in the future, could be technically a B wave into possibly one more smaller retest of this previous resistance confirming support. My kind of like long-term thought process is that this was going to put in a higher high here, and I was going to open up a short trade here, and then levy it back down into hopefully another retest, and that would create the larger A to a B to a C structure for the larger trend. Now, we don't need the completed ABC in order for that to happen, but it would have been awesome to have some sort of hedge, because once again, I am trying to work my way into the hedge positions, and at this moment in time, there's nothing on the board besides that long trade. We did get kicked out of KDA. KDA took a pretty gnarly dump past 2 days, and unfortunately, we are below the macro ABC setup, and the only other option would be to dump a little bit lower and put in a lower low here, and then come back above and continue to hold support, or if we get back above 41 cents just to round it out. But I'm not too concerned with that. I am just trying to focus a little bit more on Bitcoin here. So there is still a chance that we kind of double bottom here and then still continue and put in that higher high. But that is neither here nor there. But just interesting to see how the last couple of months worked out. Obviously, before we had this larger ABC structure here, the last previous long structure was here. And that ended up kicking us up to the upside for the slightly higher high ABC top that is currently the all-time high. So right now, there's not really much to do here besides sit and wait. Obviously, if we do happen to come back down to the original entry level, I probably will give it another chance. I do have the expectation that it will break through lower, but I can't necessarily bet on that. This could just be a simple retest here, and we kind of just do a little bit of a rounded bottom along the support level, and then kick back to the upside. I'm not here to simply say that this is going to be a bottom and then the extension of the bull market. We're just looking at this in terms of the immediate reaction to the market. So if we do happen to find support, whether it be a tad bit lower down here, and we create an even larger ABC structure, or we continue with the one that has already been created, that's really not for me to judge. And all I'm really looking for is a retest of primarily this resistance, if not the all-time high. And then hopefully sometime around there we start getting hedge positions, because obviously we want to create as big of a range as possible to ensure security. So if we can get a long position down here, and hopefully either here or here open up a short position, that creates a pretty big range where we can kind of just wait it out and see what the market wants to do going forward, and kind of just work our way through it. We're giving it our all this time. The other day, someone pointed out that the US 100 and the SPY are currently in ABC long positions. They are not confirmed to the upside as of right now. They were, but unfortunately we did start dumping back down. That could be due to Liberation Day, people having overreactions to reciprocal tariffs, whatever it might be. Like I said, I look at charts, really don't care about all that. And when you look at it all in a bigger picture, it's all supports and resistances. So no matter if it's bad news or good news, we're going somewhere, and that somewhere is relatively predictable. So if we're looking at the US 100 from a larger time frame here, this is the 2 hour. Let's go ahead and jump out to maybe a daily here. Just looking at the larger local lows that could be used as support within the immediate range here. There's only a couple that really stand out. Obviously the low of the last ABC, the low of this ABC, and we could pretty much just call these the same level of support here. Obviously this is the closest, strongest support level, just kind of between these 2 points here. And then obviously this is the closest to where we're currently sitting. So these are the two immediate marks. And then, you know, once we surpass that, if we surpass that, then we'll start looking at either this or this as a possible resolution point. Or, you know, maybe just a tad bit lower and a retest of previous resistance, which would pretty much just coincide with these last local lows here. So there's not too much of a big deal. But yeah, we are currently sitting in an ABC pattern that is currently unconfirmed, but is there. It is quite skinny, so there could be a little bit of a double or triple layer to this that could form throughout the next couple of weeks / months, kind of like what we did here, where we did have A to a B to a C, but unfortunately it did double layer, which just created a little bit of a larger ABC structure. So entry just would have been slightly lower. It's April 3rd. Oh, did I put April 2nd? I did. I'm so used to doing daily live streams in the past. I forgot that I'm going to be sticking to a 2-day schedule. So we did the first, we did the third, next will be the fifth, so on and so on and so on. And then did the SPY continue to dump down? I'm assuming yes. Yes, the SPY did as well. So yeah, that's a big fat candle. So it was definitely due to the news, but it's not a bother to me. We do have the ABC structure here. The two local lows of support are a tad bit lower. Obviously, the second one that I highlighted here is the strongest. So yeah, we'll see, hopefully over the next couple of days, either one, people calm down and look more into the research instead of reading highlights, and then see what their opinion is then. Happening on the smaller time frames here. I mean, on the smaller time frames, we do have some sort of ABC, so I definitely could see a double bottoming here if we do happen to kick one more time to the upside. Like I said, obviously the best option for me is to start hedging immediately as soon as possible, just to kind of work our way through this. And truthfully, my hope is that with all the turmoil in the economy, that we do get some hefty ranging. Because ranging is where money is made, and then the expansion just multiplies whatever you made. Because, I mean, if we look back at this range here, this was definitely a fun time for medium accounts. Obviously, you would have your macro trades, which you're just kind of working through the entirety of the range, but then you would have your medium time frame trades, which are just looking for the opposition points. And there was definitely a good bit of trades to be taken. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Probably wouldn't have caught that one, but you could have caught it off the larger trend here. 4, 5, and then 6 there. 7. We are so over. No. It's never over. As long as the chart is moving, there's nothing that can be over. Hey, Kite, if you are 100, I thought you were talking about age for a second. I'd be like, at that point, just shut your eyes, take a nap. 100% cash and 50% at the bank and 50% at Bybit. What would you do? I would not have 50% of my money in Bybit. I think, I've been gone so long, Bybit did end up getting a security breach of some sort. And I mean, from day one with Bybit, my whole opinion is I trust Bybit. So far, so good. But you never know what can happen in the future. No website is safe because that's just the nature of the internet. And because leverage allows us to limit our portfolio exposure through leverage, that should be the main purpose of leverage, more importantly. Let's say you had $100,000. You should probably only have about 10 grand on Bybit at most, 10% of whatever you're willing to trade. Okay, not 10% of your entirety of everything you have, but 10% of what you're willing to trade. Because if you can amplify through leverage, then what's the point in having the entire, at that point you're just doing that because you love gambling, not because you like how leverage can make you a bit safer. Um, 100% cash, 50% of the bank, 50% in Bybit. What'd you do? No financial advice. Buy the dips. Well, you just want different options. One, you can set up a daily buy and just DCA into the dips. But more importantly, if you are following the charts and you have the time, look for opportune points. All right, so back in the past here, as this whole trend was forming, there was a couple different points where you could have hopped into long trades. All right, and this is the thing. All right, I am using price action and price action only. So when people talk about, oh, you're using historical price action, that's not really that accurate. That's when it comes to lagging indicators, because indicators are going to look differently in real time versus once it has more data to average out. When the candlestick is there, there is absolutely nothing different from the past to the present. As long as you're being honest with yourself with what the action would have been based on the candlestick. So if I'm marking out all of the points where I would have taken longs during this downwards period, all right, it would have been here, 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 here. And the reason for that, let me just walk you through it, is as the trend formed, we had an A to a B to a C. That was the first significant ABC that ever formed during this trend. And then we had a bit of an extension off that first trend. And that's okay. That happens all the time. All right. So we got a little bit lower of an entry point. All right. It's still the same ABC here. All right. So we go A to B to C. It just extends it a little bit. So now it gives us a lower entry point. And the entire time that you're doing this, you can hedge as well. All right, so we did have an ABC top here. All right, you can use your smaller time frame trades to be making a bit of profit to cover the stops that you are accumulating, or you can just be hedging on your macro account, for either direction that this might have gone. Maybe it went to the downside. You never know. So, but we're just focusing on the long points here. All right, so then that long did end up working out. And then we got the little bit of an ABC top here, very, very slight, and especially depending on which exchange you're looking at. But we did ABC top here. So then this extended downwards. This extended upwards. Okay, so now we have a larger structure. And every time the structure gets larger and larger, especially when the low points are closer and closer together like this, it's starting to show more and more and more support. And the more times that you do this, the more secure it becomes. All right. To me, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. All right. So then we're taking a long from there. And then, yes, that long ended up working out as well. But we did, unfortunately, have another ABC top, which you could have taken a hedge position or a short position. Up to you entirely. And then from there, we extended it once again. And we had one more. And that extends us into the giant A to a B to a C. And then from there, that was the final entry point. Of course, you probably would have been kicked out right here if your stop loss was a bit too close. But it is an if this and that statement. If we did not put in a lower low beyond the current ABC, the largest structure is still the one that we would be playing off of. So the same thing goes here. All right. If you're willing to be proactive and look at the chart and look at how price action is developing, you can plan around that. So at the current moment, all right, this is the structure to be playing, A to a B to a C. And I can go ahead and make this a little bit more fat so it's easier to see. All right, you can see the distinct separation and trend. All right, you can see how it's a straight downwards trend here, and then we break into an uptrend. All right, and to me, I can eyeball it. I don't really have like set rules. All right. But I mean, if you want something like it, this uptrend encompasses previous lows and kind of breaks the normality of the trend. All right, I'm looking for breaks in normality. That's how I spot uptrends and downtrends. Not always do they break above previous highs and previous lows. I just eyeball it. So from there, obviously, we had ABC to the downside as well within this C wave. So at the moment, this is the current long entry. Now, if you're buying on spot, you don't necessarily have to get as close as humanly possible in order to take advantage of this. You could buy spot here, you could buy spot here, and maybe have your stop loss a tad bit lower, and you can kind of DCA your way in, as long as we're within this kind of lower range here. But obviously, if you're on leverage with the availability to get liquidated, you do need a little bit more of a safety net. So being as close as humanly possible is what we're looking for. And it's about being realistic. All right. Not every entry is going to be a one and done. Sometimes they are, and we love those when the market gives it to us. But other than that, we have to be realistic. So my thought process before this uptrend and this downtrend happened, all right, before, on the stream the other day, we were barely kicking to the upside right here. All right. And I entered off of this smaller time frame ABC here. So for me, I missed this entry, but I'm using a smaller time frame to find some sort of semblance of support. It did end up working out quite well. And my thought process was, well, if we have an A, okay, I can see a very clear uptrend. And then we have a B, I can see a very clear downtrend. And this is the important part of being able to use ABCs. All right. I see Keegan in the chat. He said there's an ABC indicator called ABC Finder, which if you need to use those, that's good. But what those can't do is look ahead. All right. When you start using ABCs for a while, you should be able to pre-plan your thought process. And even though it might not work out like that, it's important to see what the available options for the market are and what the market wants to do. All right, the market as a whole is a utility to find out what the correct price of an asset is at any given point in time. Through support and resistance is how we figure out what the market would like to retest and confirm whether or not we should surpass it, stay below it, or stay stable. So by looking at local highs and local lows, which is what ABCs combine, local highs and local lows combine in order to make ABCs, we can kind of get an idea of what the market wants to do, what it might do, and what it can do. So if I have an A and I have a B, and I see that within this B wave there is some sort of semblance of bullish structure, I can assume that the market wants to try to make a C wave. Now, unfortunately, we didn't put in the higher high, which is kind of a criteria for me whether or not I want to enter a short trade. And the reason for this, all right, is when I see price action being able to break above resistance, but not stay above it, that signals to me that we are actually bearish and could test even lower than where we started. When I don't see that, all right, it kind of tells me that we could be kind of in a range and for me to not just stay on the sideline. Okay. And for some people, it's the opposite. It's just my way of thinking. They think, well, if we can't even get back to the resistance, doesn't mean that we're more bearish. To me, it just means that we're kind of ranging. We just don't have enough momentum to either side to really make a decision here. But if there's enough momentum to the downside, if there's not enough buying pressure to continue, even with a buy signal, such as breaking resistance, that tells me that there is more bearishness left in the market. I should take a hedge position just in case. All right. And unfortunately, we did not get that. So that still is a possibility that we continue to the upside and we create that larger ABC structure. But as of right now, we're just kind of chilling. There's nothing really going on. All right. So this could end up turning into just a full full A position and we're starting on a larger C wave, but I would like to see more of a retest. So that was the immediate position. So now what's the larger position? Well, this could turn into a larger A. I was hoping that we would put it in like a ABC, but you know, if this just ends up doing this, well, we could go down one more time. All right, we do have the previous resistance that could act as support from the previous range. All right, so hopefully it doesn't go much lower than that, which would be really good for our entry point. All right, so let's say that we extend all the way down there. All right, so then now the next entry point would be here. So 2 entries. And then obviously the end goal would be a retest of the all-time high with an intermediary goal of retesting kind of this midpoint where kind of our largest trend would be right here. So that's a pretty good trade to me. And then hopefully towards either one of these resistances, we get some sort of ABC structure, whether it be there or a bit higher. And then there we have a hedge range where we would have entered here and then hopefully enter short here. And now the money that has been made to the upside is now secure if we happen to dump back down to the downside on a macro level. And then on your medium time frame accounts, where you're looking for, you know, kind of medium term profit, you would take you would take a long entry here, and then if we see a significant short ABC towards one of these resistances, then you would go ahead and take profit on the long position into the short position, but you would still have the macro long from your macro trade if that one fell through. All right, and it should be a laddering system. All right, if you're taking hyper trades, you know, daily trades where you're just taking very, very, very short-term profit, those trades should be mostly used to cover any losses from finding your medium trades. And then your medium trades should be mostly used for covering the losses from your macro trades, because you're going to get stopped out everywhere you go. Okay, because once again, we are human, and the whole point of the market is being able to lose, but mathematically still win. All right, it should never have a 90% win ratio, because you're building a house on sand. All right, if you have a 90% win ratio, that probably means that you have a 1-to-1 R&R most of the time, or maybe slightly higher. And if anything fails within that system, it all comes crashing down. But if I build for the absolute worst case scenario, the best trading strategy I possibly can, where I could lose 100 times, but still walk away with slightly break even or gently above, over time, compounding takes effect. And even the small wins, those times where you get out barely alive, you're walking away with money that people would wish for just on a good day. That's the whole point. And it takes time to get there. You have to work your way into it. You have to wait for these macro trades to show themselves. Take the chance on it. Hopefully things turn around. Take the hedge positions on those trades. Be patient enough to let the medium work themselves out. And if you're willing to go as so far as the micro trades, same thing goes. It's a lot of patience and working yourself into the trades. But once you get a couple of them rolling, everything else falls into place. Because then a lot of the pressure is off of you as well. When you have no positions on the board is when you're the most desperate. And you're reaching for anything else that's around. So it's important to wait for the perfect setup. Enter upon it when it shows itself. And then take the appropriate hedges and work your way through the market. People are calling for 60K, 63K. What do you think of that? And if yes, when? 63K. It's quite an odd number, wouldn't you say? Quite an odd number. And the reason why I say that is because if we're looking at supports and resistances, even if we just start back here, okay, our strongest support level currently as of now is 49,000. Next strongest number, 52,000. And subsequently, they get less and less significant beyond that point. All right. So our two main supports, which unfortunately this one is not yet confirmed as a support, but hopefully will be. All right. 73,959. Okay. This is our strongest, hopefully, support. And then beyond that, all I can really count, like if we have severe downside price action, it would most likely land around 52,000 to 49,000. If we do happen to break below 74K, I would be counting on 66,800 as the next available support. And then 58,912. Okay, I'm looking at this from local low levels. All right, local lows are when within the uptrend, there's multiple trends. So obviously, if we start from the very bottom here, this is our ultimate trend here. Okay, from this low point, we went straight up. Of course, there's downside in between, but for the most part, this is a general trend straight to the upside. All right, so within that trend, anytime that we have a deviation and we set in a low, that is a local low. That's a significant point for price action to continue from. So calling for 63K is kind of just being like, all right, well, we have support all within this region. Let's just aim for the middle. Which, I mean, you can do that, but I don't think that's the appropriate way of going about it. All right, it's an if this and that statement. All right, right now, our if is 74K, and then it is 67K, and then it is 58K. 63K is a random number within that. There's no reason for that number besides speculation. All we have right now in front of our face is bullish structure. All right. And it's always flipped on its head. All right. This is how I know people are thrown for a loop. All right. When we were back here and I was seeing ABC top, ABC top, ABC top, well, what do? All right. I look at, okay, our next available support and resistance of any macro scale are here and here. So I go, well, we're most likely going to see 49K. And if that doesn't hold, all right, it's always an if. If 49,000 does not hold as support, then we will most likely be going back down to 38,600. And when I called 38,600, people go, that's absolutely ridiculous. But to me, it's an if this and that statement. I'm simply saying if this breaks, then that one is next. It's a simple game. Now, of course, these are not exact supports and resistances. You want to look at them more like a range. All right, so in this case scenario, you know, we could have gone a bit lower than the exact resistance, but we touched it exactly and came back up. And it's always if we continue following. If we have a bullish structure and we can get back above the confirmation point, aka the above this A here, then yes, we will continue to be bullish, and we continue to do so. So it's the same exact ball game. Don't put more thought into it, and don't scare yourself out of positions just because of that. So if we're looking at this from a macro scale, the only numbers that truthfully matter are 73,800, 49,161, and as of right now, this exact second, 78,108. Those are the only points that matter and should be on your mind. All right, because this right here is a range. All right, and until we break back into that range, you should not necessarily be paying too much attention to the minor supports. Pay attention to the macro. Once we break into the range, then you can start paying attention to a little bit more of the medium. All right, but until then, keep your mind open and don't let it scare you out of potential bullish positions now that are right in front of your face. Okay, that's the importance of looking at the chart for yourself. You can go look at the news, you can go look at other YouTubers, you can go do this and that and this and that. And the thing is I know I'm just another YouTuber, but I'm not telling you to be bullish. I'm showing you what I see, and then if you choose to believe that yourself, that is okay. So this is the position that I'm looking for. Now, obviously, we could get a little bit of an extension as we drawn out here, and that's okay to me. The only point that matters in my eyes is you, BB. Thank you, thank you. My cheeks are rosy red right now. Rock said jump on Rivals Kite. I've been practicing my Black Panther. I'm an Adam Warlock main, but and currently it depends on whether or not you look at it on mobile or if you look at it on computer. But I am currently, oh no, did I move all the way back down? What happened? I am currently the number 15 Adam in the world. Well, on PC, but let's be honest here, PC is the only thing that matters when it comes to competitive play. And I'm currently the number 1 MVP Adam in the world by a massive margin. Let's just put that out there. I mean, come on, it's not even a contest. 122 MVPs to 64. Who's counting? Who's counting? We're going pro. I am probably the most aggressive Adam Warlock player in the game. Like, my healing numbers aren't that great. 1184 healing per minute, when most people are getting around like 1300. But very aggressive. I hit a lot of shots. Look at the sticks. What's up, man? He said, do you notice the head and shoulders? Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that happening. Because, I mean, if we look at this from a macro level, if we did happen to break back below this resistance, then we could be using that as, well, it would be more on this point of view, but it would be an A to a B to a C, and then if we get back below that, that technically would be bearish. But we do have the larger support level here, if anything were to happen. I don't see us head and shouldering, you know, all the way back down to $14,000. I don't really see that. Can you check link, please? Sure. Oh, that's the market cap. Hold on, sorry. So Link had a pretty gnarly large ABC. So when you see an ABC this large, you typically are going to be looking more towards the macro local lows. So obviously that being $8.14. We do have the previous ABC long position, which we are currently using as support here at about $11.88. So this was the original position here. We had ABC short, and then before we put in that short position, we had ABC long here. Link was very, very rocky before we got back above the original A here. You can see it used it as resistance many times before we finally broke back above it and then continued up from there. So currently using that as support. If we're looking at the immediate downtrend, which is obviously what we want to look at in order to find any sort of semblance of upside, all right, we do have previous support levels here and here. I don't typically look at the previous long position as a good support level, but for all intents and purposes right now it is, just because that does coincide with our most recent local low here. So we don't have any significant ABC yet. This would be the closest thing that we have to it. Obviously we do have the longer ABC, but that's not what we like to take positions off of. We want the top of the A and the top of the C, in this case scenario the bottoms, to be as close as possible, while still going over or under. So right now that's the only thing I can really see. You would hope that this extends its, like, hopefully we come back down a little bit and this has a little bit of an extension like this, and then one more downtrend. That to me would be a much stronger long position to be in, if we did happen to confirm back to the upside here. All right, but as of right now, that's the only thing the link has going for it, is previous support from the previous bullish ABC, and a small structured skinny ABC that could form and confirm. And I mean, you know, it's okay to have those opinions, but like I said, to me, there's really no point in having such an outlandish theory. And I don't mean to call it outlandish in terms of like it could never happen. It's just, as a trader, I don't think you want to put yourself in that mindset for any large number, whether it's, you know, aiming for $500,000 during the bull run, or, you know, $20,000 during a bear market. I do think it's important to take it step by step and look at the reality of what situation you're in, and work your way through it appropriately. All right. So at the beginning of this bull market, you know, I put out a funny number, and that's why I called it a funny number, 173,000. It's based purely off of magic of Fibonacci's. All right. But that does not influence my decisions when it comes to the immediate term. If I see a significant ABC short position, I'm going to take that short no matter how bullish I think the market is, because that's just the way things work. So if you're aiming for 20,000, well, there's several steps that need to happen before we even get relatively close to that, right? One, we need to break back down below the previous all-time high. But if we're looking at this from a more immediate term, we need to break back down below 74,000. All right. And then we need to break back down below 49,000. And then we need to break back down below 38,600. And then we need to break that back down below 31,989. And then we need to break back down below 25,000. And then we need to break down all the way to 19,584. So there is several macro support regions that we would have to smash through in order to get anywhere close to that. And the whole thing is that, yes, what if we went to 20K? Well, there would be plenty of opportunities to get into short positions on the way down. So I just, like I said, it's a weird mindset to put yourself there, because, you know, hopefully you're doing things correctly and you're not over betting. But some people, when they think this way, they're going to over risk. They're going to, you know, start taking short positions up here above supports, and they can get liquidated. It's like over time, like what if you're correct and we went all the way down to 20K, but you've burnt all of your money before we got there, because you've been taking short positions at support levels with bullish signs in the market. See what I'm saying? But yes, like if we broke back down below 74,000 and then we came back up and we did one of these, and then you take a short position after that ABC confirms, oh my good, yeah, you're cooking then. Because now you have resistance plus a bearish sign in the market with the current market structure. So you're combining confluence in order to make sure that the opportunity for that trade to actually work itself out is as high as possible. And then you can start being like, I'm going to hold this trade and then I'll hedge down here just in case I'm wrong. But then what if you're not wrong? Then we break back down, then we do another one of these, and then so on and so on and so on. So it's just be careful with that. And it doesn't just apply to these super long time frames. It could be the immediate time frames as well, where people make that mistake and overly bet and get too bullish, and before we were even above resistance, they're taking longs. Isn't the bull run over this year by December 2025 based on the 4 years? Possibly. The thing is that I think the bull market's just going to be entirely different from now on, just because of the way the supply works itself out. I think it just takes longer and longer for these things to work themselves through. Can you take a look at the piece of shit GLMR? Yeah, sure. Never heard of it, but... yeah. No, it's, yeah, there's nothing. The only level of support with any confidence would be here and here. And unless something significant forms down here in terms of like we cut to the upside for a retest here and then come back down and then generously hold above that support level, I wouldn't touch this at all. I wouldn't touch it at all, because we only have an ABC here, and then obviously within the C wave of the larger structure we have an ABC there. So unless we come back above that level of about 12.6 to 16.1 cents, unless another structure forms that could give you a sign of bullishness, don't touch it. At least I wouldn't. We stopped out yet? Not yet, but we're pretty damn close to it. And we are going to be heading off here pretty shortly. Like I said, just I'm going to continue with these check-ins and keep you guys up to date. Like I said, any new trades going from here on out will be uploaded to the Discord. The Patreon's in the description. It's cheaper than it's ever been. I did get a sponsorship through Femex, and if you guys need a new exchange at all, it is KYC free if you sign up through my link, and I would really appreciate it. Hopefully in the future we can get the giveaways going again, just like we did with L Bank, get a little spin wheel going. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Quick plug. Like I said, technically I'm sponsored now, so gotta show them I at least care somewhat. But I did need a new website myself, just because I needed something more like Bybit. But it's got everything you need. It's got market conditionals with preset up stop losses, which is something that, if you guys know me for a long time, that is pretty crucial to having a healthy lifestyle when it comes to trading. Because being able to set it and forget it is very, very, very important. Hi, Kite. Are you still offering lifetime on Discord? Yes, I am. Always have been. I still have the bear market special there. If you did want to do the lifetime, but the monthly is pretty cheap now, so it's up to you if that is something you're ever interested in. But the next possible trades that I'm looking at, obviously, if we do happen to put in the lower low off of this level here, that is something that I probably will have to re-enter on if I do happen to get stopped out of the original. But if we do happen to break down below that, I would be hoping for a retest to get an entry off of 78,152. If we do, we don't happen to hold that level, then obviously I'm looking for a creation of a larger ABC structure off of 76,600, and then that would be my final entry point going forward. And then beyond that point, it's really hard to say what. We would just have to wait and see what the next steps are in price action. Yeah, I think I'll call it there. Like I said, not too much to look at. I mean, we can take a quick look at Ethereum. I just haven't really been interested in it at all recently. It's not really on my list here. Did we put in the higher high? So technically, yeah, we did. We did put in a large macro ABC top there at 4,106. Only just barely. So technically this wouldn't be an ABC to the downside. I'm sure on some exchanges. Let's go just take a quick look and make sure that I'm looking at this correctly. So yeah, I mean it put in the higher high there as well. I mean there's nothing really significant. Nothing at all. I mean, this next lower low here is possibly the only ABC position for the foreseeable future. I mean, we do have large local low support here at 1,523, with the previous long ABC support being at 1,622. So, I mean, there's room for lower. Like there's definitely room for lower. You can see this was the previous range. We used it as support here on the previous resistance, but now we're back underneath it and we have retested and confirmed it as resistance. So we are now back within this range. So I mean, it's not impossible to say that Ethereum will continue to drop all the way down to 1515. But as of right now, we do have A to a B to a C. And this is like pretty much the only thing within this entire trend that can be used to say go long. But yeah. He said, look up Jup. Please stop ignoring me. Be truthfully honest, like it kind of is ignoring. Like there's so many coins out there. Like if I click this button and you show me a chart, all right, because this is the thing, man. A lot of the times I feel like these are people trying to get free publicity, which I'm not a big channel, so I don't know why you would do that here. But if I click this button and this chart looks like garbage, and you've been watching my channel and you know what I'm going to say, you've wasted everybody's time. So I'm going to click this button now, and we're going to see my opinion on you. All right, opinion's half and half. I'll give you a pass on this one, and that's it. All right, because this is very close to being garbage. But at least I can see something. Something. Okay, so on a large scale here, we have A to B to C. Okay, so we're not really in a good position at all. All right, but you would like it to be back above 63 cents before you have any sort of macro confidence in it. Now, if we go into the C wave, yeah, but like the biggest shitcoin is still a shitcoin, right? I mean, this is practically brand new. It came out in March of last year. I mean, that's just a straight shot up. So, like I said, I'm a chart man. I don't care about what coin is on what network and all that stuff. If the chart looks like garbage, the chart looks like garbage. And it's a thing with the channel. People look up this coin, that coin, and I go to the chart and it looks bad all the time. So there's nothing immediate. The only closest ABC that you could be used for support, which would be in confluence with this previous local low here, which I don't have much faith in that one. But in the immediate term, it would be 44.9. So, in all reality, I wouldn't necessarily touch this coin until it got back above 63 cents. Is there something that has more price action that I'm missing here? Because if there's a significant local low here that I could see as support, that could change my opinion. But there's nothing. It went from 0 to $2, and then that was it. So yeah, like to me, it's just not worth touching it until it's back above 63 cents. Like if we got back above 63 cents, and like you showed me a chart that looked like this, I'd be like, oh, that's a really good buy. Because you're back above your macro bullish structure. You have a medium bullish structure that you could play into and get an entry point here to hopefully continue into the future. Like if that was the chart, no matter if it's a shitcoin or Bitcoin, that's a good structure. That's something that you would want to see. You have confluence all around. But in terms of this, there's no telling. There's no local low supports that I can aim for and be like, these are the levels that you would like to look at. I can only look at the immediate structure because that's all there is. So if we come back to this in a couple months and this ends up happening in some way or another, then yeah, that's a good buy. And there's always going to be those people that be like, oh, I missed out. You know, I could have bought it at 37 cents at the very, very low. But like, there's nothing telling you to buy there. You just bought because you were FOMOing and got lucky. But you probably lost a lot of money in the hopes of that happening. So this is the chart that you would want to see, no matter what coin you're looking at. If you got time, can you look at cash? Yeah, I always got time. We'll look at it. See, like this has a little bit more. Still kind of in the same line, but has a little bit more. We have a couple local lows that we can look at for future support. This one is not super significant, but we'll mark it out just because it's there. This was our previous local low. Unfortunately, we used it as support once, retested as resistance, and currently being used as resistance. So in all reality, you know, we have the previous local high that could be used as support at this level. So if we're going to use the local high and the local low here, I'm just going to get rid of this one. This one doesn't matter as much. Like I said, wasn't significant to me given with. If we're looking at the trends, we want to go like what's the most important. So like this one is the most important. And obviously that established a local high as well. So don't really need to pay attention to that. If we break back into the range, of course, this is going to play some sort of influence, but at this moment, that does not matter. This local high here is close enough to this local low where we can just use one or the other. We had a triple layer double top here. And we used it as resistance on the retest here. And then currently we are in an extended C wave. So there's no break of trend. Like this is all pretty in line. So there's not necessarily any like super break of trend that I would be confident on. So I would probably want to see some sort of aggressive retest, or at least something a little bit more like this in order to kind of break this trend up. And then if we had another retest that either put in a lower low here, that would be your significant ABC to go ahead and take. Or if we had, you know, something like that. We just need to see that break of trend to see if there's some availability to the upside. That's all. And then if that were to happen, that could be an entry there. Yeah, that's about it. It's not a good looking chart in terms of like availability for anything. It's a lot of jagged momentum to the downside. There's no real break of trend. The last break of trend was here. But unfortunately, we've moved so far beyond that even if we did come back up to that level, it wouldn't be an immediate re-entry. We would have to see it come back down and for a retest before we entered on that. So yes, technically this is an ABC here, and technically this would be the entry, but we're so far below that I wouldn't have a lot of confidence that if we came back up, you immediately re-enter. Sort of like the other coin. We would want to see it come back up pretty generously above, and then if we came back down and formed an ABC structure above that support, then and only then would I be using that in confluence and then continuation to the upside. But yeah, that's about it. Like I said, smaller time frame trade. Only reason being is because I'm trying to capitalize on the larger structure here. So to me, you know, on Bitcoin, we did have break of trend here. Obviously, this was the first break of trend as well. So we are close enough to that support region where any ABCs that pop up, I'm willing to take because I did not grab that entry. But more than willing to accept the fact that we probably will move lower and retest these regions, hopefully get a slightly lower low, and then be able to pick up an even closer entry to the hopeful new support previous resistance of 73,871. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'll be back after tomorrow. Like I said, every 2 days. I am aiming for about 7 to 9, somewhere between there to start the stream, AM Eastern Standard Time. So I'll see you then. I said every 2 days. You know, if we really get back into it and things are kicking off, we'll talk about whether or not it's a daily thing from that point. But until then, we'll keep it nice and light, easily digestible, with bi-daily updates. All right, guys. I appreciate you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. And as always, just trade safe, take it slow. There's not a whole lot going on in the market right now. Don't freak out because of news or tariffs or anything like that. Just watch the charts. The charts will show you what the opportune points are, and then from there, whatever happens, there's money to be made. Doesn't matter if it's a range. Doesn't matter if it's downside. Doesn't matter if it's gentle upside. There's always something. So we'll take it day by day, and hopefully you do as well. And yeah, we'll leave it off on that. Probably gonna go play some Rivals. Try to get my rank up. If I'm on, I don't know why it's different. I'm on the same website, but if I'm on the mobile version, technically I'm number 5. So I don't know what's more up to date. I don't know how they're calculating that. Trying to be the best. Like, so if you sort by rank, technically I'm not the best. I don't know how this guy is number 1. It's pure hours. Who has that much time? It's 161 hours on one character. That's competitive in-game time. That's actually crazy. But not many people care about that. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and choose a song for the outro, and I'll leave it at that. I do appreciate you very much. And we'll hopefully have something more for you in 2 days. Yeah, let's play this. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.
Maybe they were wrong about me, and I was right the whole time. Underrated newcomer sitting on a gold mine. Never took a shortcut, I've been on that slow grind. Add up all the baby steps, I'll be there in no time. Folks line up and down the block to see the spectacle. You don't gotta like, at least admit the shit respectable. Never had dollars, we were fighting over decimals. Decimated all the doubt, now I'm feeling resolute. Now I'm feeling purposeful, working till mama's purse is full. Been rock bottom, only way to go is vertical. I was off balance, yeah, I was catching vertigo. Now they breaking vertebrae, every time I circle through. I prefer to do everything how I imagined it. Made this off a handout so they can put their hands in it. Break it and dismantle it and play me like a mandolin. Wait until I'm down till they offer me companionship. Saying they gon' ride for me when shit hits the fan again. They ain't really crazy, they as manic as a mannequin. Can it, man, I cannot stand hearing any more of this. I guess the moral is just maybe they were wrong. I'ma go until I get it, I'ma chase it till it's gone. Head in the clouds and my feet on the ground. Screaming down at them like, look at me now. Just maybe they were wrong. Just maybe they were wrong. Don't be fooled by the frown on my face. I'm just playing along. Just maybe. Just maybe. Just maybe.